Welcome to Unit 1. We have 3 priorities for this opening unit. First, we want you to begin getting to know each other in the groups we have provided for unit discussions. You will see fellow group members in the 2 discussion starters associated with this unit. The group assignments will remain the same throughout the semester. You will notice due dates for the various discussion starters over the course of the semester. Unit discussions typically open on Mondays, and the due date is typically the following Monday. So you actually have a full week plus 1 day to complete discussions. In some instances, later units will be opened, so you may have access to unit materials that may be helpful for assignments. But the unit discussions will be opened according to consecutive units on a weekly basis. That is, except for summer offerings of this class, the unit discussion will generally match the progression of weeks. Unit 1 discussion occurs during the first week of class. Unit 2 discussion occurs during the second week of class, and so on. Please know that our primary reason for emphasizing a weekly window for discussion is that we genuinely want you to process discussion questions in your assigned groups. The due dates are not intended to be punitive. In fact, as long as you complete the minimum discussion requirements by the end of the semester, you can expect to receive a solid grade for discussion participation. You may have a week or two where it is hard to get your posts in before the official close of the unit. In such instances, just get caught up as soon as you can. But seek to make your typical pattern one of regularly engaging with your classmates in discussion. Our hope would be that a true sense of community might form among classmates. Consider sharing prayers with your group members as prayer needs arise. Perhaps even a permanent friendship might form out of a robust discussion on the topic of worship. Regarding Unit 1 discussion, for your first discussion question, we want you to introduce yourself to fellow group members. Our second priority for Unit 1 is to introduce the topic of worship leadership. To that end, you will find 2 blog articles that I have created on the topic of incarnational worship. I originally presented on this topic at a regional ETS conference in 2010. Since then, I've expanded the original presentation into an introductory inquiry into the topic of worship and a foundational article on the topic of worship leadership. In the first document, I am playing the role of apologist and philosopher to some extent. I'm encouraging you to think in a very basic sense about the phenomena of spiritual experiences that even lost people might call worship. An agnostic or academician might use non-spiritual terminology, but I argue that such thinkers do have common human experiences of a seemingly spiritual nature that they struggle to explain. I believe God allows for such experiences. For example, an emotional connection to powerful music to introduce them to the possibility of spiritual reality. Simultaneously in this article, I am encouraging you as a believer to consider the full range of experiences that could genuinely be called worship. And I am encouraging you to get to the heart of why we would describe these experiences as worship. Toward the end of Chapter 1, I transition toward corporate worship experiences. I typically need to remind students that this class is not titled Worship broadly, but rather Worship Leadership. No doubt one cannot begin to conceive of worship leadership without first recognizing the nature of worship, which is exactly why I start the introductory material in the manner you will encounter. Furthermore, as evangelicals, we will always emphasize personal, genuine relationship with Jesus Christ as the starting point for understanding and experiencing worship. Toward this end, there is another seminary class designed to help you go deeper into your personal worship, and that class is called Spiritual Formation. Of course, you will likely see reminders throughout this course that one's journey with worship must be centered in personal relationship with Christ and must carry implications for every area of life. In fact, I hope you will remind one another of such realities through your group discussions. This being said, by the end of the Incarnation of Worship, Chapter 1, we will be clearly moving to the topic of corporate worship leadership. Your second discussion question for Unit 1 calls for interactions with the articles. This will also be your first opportunity to begin engaging with your fellow group members on the topic of worship. Our third priority for Unit 1 is for you to read through the syllabus and make note of any questions you might have. Within the first 2 weeks of class, a video conference will be provided where we will answer your questions. This video conference will be recorded, so if you are not able to attend live, it's okay. The recorded video will be provided for the entire class. You are required to watch either the live video conference or the recorded video. I do want to encourage you to secure both textbooks, as you will note that both book reviews are due fairly early in the semester.